Okay, I believe we are live. So great. Welcome to Tamarah's Closet today. I'm really honored to have a very special guest with me today, and it's because he has such an amazing story of overcoming a lot of obstacles, and I love those Cinderella stories. I really do. He's faced a lot of challenges head on, and he had to become accountable for his actions, and then taking steps to change, and he literally turned his life around in about 30 days once he got focused. He's tackled acting in Hollywood, playing various roles as well as commercials, doing some modeling, touring with the Tyler Perry's theatrical production of The Marriage Counselor. He is a world sought-out personal trainer and has trained and worked with celebrities such as Shamar Moore, who I love Shamar Moore from Criminal Minds, and who's going to be on SWAT coming up, Nadine Velasquez from The Bounce Back, Darius McCrary from Family Matters, Christina Milian, a singer and actress, Omarion, Grammy Award nominee, and Jeremy Tyler, American basketball player. So he's currently on the cover of City to Country magazine, which is right here behind me. And so that's out now. So he just has a great story, and I have lots of questions. And since we're late getting on, I want to go ahead and bring him out here. So I want to give a warm welcome to celebrity trainer, actor, and he also plays the drums, which is cool, Marcus Smith III. Say hello, Marcus, so I know you're still with me.
What's up, everybody? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you good. I can hear you.
Perfect.
Good.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm so glad, and I found you actually maybe a couple years ago, Marcus, when I was following Shamar a little bit, and so that's how I discovered you. And then actually somebody tagged, I had posted something that I had bought from his site, and somebody tagged you on it. It must have been one of your friends, and they tagged your name on my post. So I started checking you out then, and then I decided, well, I've got to interview him because I'm a big, I used to do bodybuilding, and so I'm a big advocate of staying fit. So I want to jump into your past just a little bit, because your parents, it sounds like, were the ones that urged you, and you started getting active in fitness at 6 years old. And I know you played a lot of different sports. Were your parents big into fitness? Is that why they encouraged you, or?
I don't think they were necessarily big into fitness. My father was actually a personal trainer. He was a retired military Air Force guy, and so he was very strict. He was very regimented about his nutrition. My mother, on the other hand, she was very McDonald's, very Burger King, very, we're gonna eat what's there, kind of thing. And my dad was a very no sugar, be careful what you put into your body, and that sort of thing. And so, I was very aggressive as a kid. I was very outgoing. I had a lot of pent up energy. And so, the best way to blow that steam off, is, hey, let's get you in a basketball game. Let's get you outdoors. And so I picked up basketball. I picked up baseball, picked up football. And, as most parents are, as most mothers are, my mother was very supportive of me. And so she would make it out to the basketball games, to the baseball games, and they would just cheer me on. And it's like with anything else, the more you do something, the better you get at it. And so I chose basketball as a sport to kind of focus on. And my parents really just kind of pushed me, to be really good at it, and they would give me very, my mother was really critical, so she would say, hey, man, you're shooting too much, you're missing, you need to work on your jump shot, and so, I was lucky enough to get a full scholarship from playing, and that got me to Loyola Marymount, and then the rest is history.
Yeah, well, since your parents ate so differently, how did you end up staying focused on the healthy eating when your parents had such opposite habits, I guess?
That is a good question. The healthy eating didn't come until later, and to be honest with you, it didn't come until after I graduated college. If I knew now what I knew when I was playing, I'd probably be a much better athlete. I'd probably be in much better shape You know, when I was in college, it was dorm room stuff. It was Domino's pizza. It was extra large Domino's. I mean, I could eat 3 extra large Domino's pizza. I mean, because I just expended so much energy. But to answer your question, you know, when I lived with my mother, I enjoyed Burger King. I mean, McDonald's, like Mike. I try to be like when Michael Jordan was doing all those McDonald's commercials. I mean, I was eating the double Whoppers with cheese like it was nobody's business, and I loved it. But like I said, looking back on it, you know, knowing what's out there today as far as the information and science and so forth and so on, I probably watched my nutrition a whole lot more. But my father, you know, he was just kind of like, you know, you are what you eat. You know, you can't put that junk into your body and expect to go out there and perform. And so I would have that voice, you know, in my ear, but I didn't care, you know, and neither did my mother. You know, we had 8 brothers and sisters. I had 7 brothers and sisters. I'm the oldest of 8. And so my mother was trying to make ends meet and that sort of thing. And so we ate what was there, and that was good, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's paid off though, and you know, I didn't eat. I mean, I think when we're young, we don't eat healthy anyway, unless
Right.
our parents were just lucky enough to have them guide that way. But you stood out. You got your scholarship in basketball at you know, am I saying it right? Loyola Marymount University, and was
Loyola.
that say it again?
Loyola.
Loyola. Okay. I know. I've got a lot of words in here I think I got to struggle with today. What's the beginning of that? Was that your initial dream in basketball, or when?
You know what? You know what's crazy is my best friend was just over here last night, and he asked me, "Hey, what was your dream growing up?" And I said, "Man, I said my first one was to be in the NBA. That was my dream. I wanted to be like Michael Jordan. I wanted to be like Magic Johnson. I would stay up in the cold, and I would just try and move and stick my tongue out like Michael Jordan. I love emulating him. And so my first dream was I'm trying to get to the NBA. And then my second dream was I wanted to be like Zach Morris on Saved by the Bell. And there was something about Saved by the Bell, something about that TV show, and you know, and being on the beach and doing all the things that they did that I loved. I loved the environment and tone that they set. And so I got really enamored with acting and just, you know, the whole pretend world that that they created on that show drew me in, you know, and so I was always intrigued by that. So I had 2 dreams, you know, I wanted to be in the NBA and I wanted to be an actor, you know, and I got close to doing, well, I did one and I got close to doing the other, you know, so I mean, not bad, you know.
Yeah, but how did you make that transition into Hollywood? What was the big? Because you kind of went from basketball to Hollywood.
Yeah, you know what? The transition was fairly easy. I just did it.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, I think sometimes, you know, we overthink things, you know, and we want to plan and strategize and think on it and think and think and think and think and think. I'm like the opposite of that. I say I want to do something and then I just do it. I just dive in there head first and make it happen, you know. And so that's exactly what I did with acting. I remember it was my senior year of college, and the season was about over. And a buddy of mine that I had mentioned, hey man, I'm thinking about, you know, getting into acting, using a theater program. He said, man, you got to come and do this show. It's like an improv show. You'd be great at it. And I was nervous. I was nervous. I had never done this before, but I took a leap, and it was the first thing. I loved it because it felt like I had hit a game-winning shot. And nothing compares to that. The thrill of being on stage and living in the moment and living and breathing and interacting and not knowing what's coming next, you know, was like a feeling that I can't even just talking about it wakes me up a little bit. But it was a feeling that I couldn't describe. And so after I did that, you know, I asked a few people at the time. I was blessed enough to have some actor friends and stuff that were actually, you know, television stars and that kind of thing, and they were like, hey man, get a headshot, get an agent, and get out there and go do it. Get an agent, go audition, and that's it. And so that's what I did.
Yeah, well, I understand that. I used to do a lot of runway modeling, and I like that even more than the being in front of the camera, just because it was that interaction with the live audience, and I really did like it.
Yeah.
And so I know that, but you actually got a BA in communication studies.
Yeah.
How's that? Because I know that's had to help you today throughout your journey. What made you do that? What?
A degree. You know, I was, to be honest with you, I had in the back of my head, I was like, you know what, if I ever go into broadcasting, or, you know, I love the idea of broadcasting, sports announcing, you know, being in front of the camera, you know, in that capacity, that I would love to have that, to you know, to kind of fall back on. But you know, with a BA, I mean, you can do all sorts of things. But I chose communicate. If I could do it all over again, quite honestly, I probably wouldn't choose communication. Communication is something that I do very naturally, and what I learned is the science behind communication, and so that's been helpful in my life. But I would probably do something that I'm not good at. You know, for me, you know, when you think about education, you know, you really want to educate yourself on things that you're not good at, because those are the skills that really add more to your life when you get out there in the real world. You know, so for example, I suck at math. I mean, I'm just like, I'm god awful. You know, I mean, I got D pluses and C minuses, you know, in college the whole way through. I'm terrible at it. So I probably would have majored in something like math, or how about this, marketing. You know, marketing is a great skill that I think anyone, you know, can take advantage of, you know. So so yeah, I mean, I chose communication studies because that's what I'm good at, and I'm glad that I have that. But if I could do it all over again, I'd probably do communications and I'd double minor in something else.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think everybody almost needs marketing today. Just marketing, because you know, with the internet, if we'd only known the internet was going to take off, but
Right.
promoting our businesses. But you know, how did you land? Because I know you coach with Aaron Speiser, who's
Yes.
like, he's one of the most well-known actor coaches. He's been
Mm.
teaching over 30 years. How did you end up with him?
You know, I can't remember who it was, but someone that oh, her name was Emily. Emily was a former Laker girl. And Emily at the time was saying, hey, man, I'm studying with this guy. His name is Aaron Speiser. You got to go check him out. And at the time, I was looking for a really reputable acting coach. And I went in and I sat in on his class and I loved it. Fell in love with it. Fell in love with it. Fell in love with him. Fell in love with the way he taught, and fell in love with how he broke down the skill of acting, you know. And it really is a skill. It really is a self-exploration type of deal. You know, it's not just learning to act. It's really, acting is really overcoming yourself and learning to live in the moment, you know, because we're all human beings. And so sometimes you have to, you know, you have to discover who you are to be able to bring the character out, you know. And so in wrestling with that can be challenging. It's almost like talking to a therapist. You know, a therapist is going to get you to discover things that you probably wouldn't want to deal with on your own. And so if a character causes you and needs you to go to a place and say things and make it be believable, then you got to go and do that work. And so it takes a really good coach to kind of get you in a place where you're comfortable and you're vulnerable to really talk about things. And the thing that's crazy about it is, you know, you have to be so comfortable because you're sitting there with like 30 other people
Yeah.
and you're talking about these issues, you know, that are really personal, you know. And so you've got to have the right person. And Aaron Speiser definitely was that guy. He was a Jewish guy. He was an old Jewish guy. But I mean, he knew how to, you know, he knew how to connect with people, and I love that. I love that about him.
Yeah, I saw he's worked with some people that I like Virginia Madsen and J Lo and Will Smith and Gerard
Mhm.
Butler, who I love. So I was really impressed with his you know, his resume as well. So I just wanted to talk. I knew that was pretty exciting, had to be very exciting for you.
Yeah.
So I wanted you to share about that. But I want to also share a little bit about your experience touring with Tyler Perry's theater production of The Marriage Counselor, and you've had other jobs. And the reason I say this is my show is about inspiring other people to step in their dreams, and all this kind of led you to fitness. And I think it's important for people to see that while they have one part of their journey can actually lead them to their actually destination place. So how did that get you to where you wanted to be with the?
You got me. You have me with chills even just talking about it. Okay, so back when I was acting, right? I was a beginner. I was green, and I was working at this law firm to kind of help supplement my income and pay bills. And one day I was running around copy jobs everywhere, and this guy came up to me with this like black and white flyer, and he was like, "Here, man, you know, you got to go audition for this thing. It's all the way out in Burbank, but there's an up and coming director who you're gonna love, and he's very talented." And I was so hungry at the time, I was willing to do anything, you know. And so I drove. Now I would never do this, by the way. But at the time, I drove all the way out, and I met a guy named Mark E. Swinton. And when I tell you, I auditioned for the thing, and I knew it when I was auditioning to it. I was like, this is special. And I said, this guy is special. And at the time, it was just director, actor kind of thing, and I auditioned for him. And he said, man, you know, you did a really good job. And he hates when I mimic him. But yeah, Marcus, you did a really good job, and you're very talented, and that kind of thing. And so we developed a relationship that went beyond just, acting, director, actor, that sort of thing. I mean, he's one of my best friends till this day. And so to make a long story short, several years later had gone by after I had done, several plays and things with him. He said, "Hey, Marcus, I'm working with Tyler Perry. I'm the assistant director. I'd love for you to audition for this thing. Send me your resume. I'm going to put it in front of Mr. Perry." Mr. Perry took a look at it. He thought I was great for the part. And then next thing you know, I was playing the lead role of Ronald in The Marriage Counselor.
I think that's awesome. Is there a way we can see that? Because I know it was at the theater, like on stage, a play. But is there? I
wish it was a play. It was live. I don't think anyone recorded it.
Oh darn!
Yeah.
I know. I hate we can't see that. But anyway, I think that's so cool. I did see some pictures from it. That you had on your page. But
yeah.
But before you moved into the fitness, you talked in your bio about how you grew as a person while acting in LA, and how you took a wrong turn like a lot of us do, partying, and you were broke, you lost managers, your girlfriend, you had unpaid bills, and you said you even lived in your car, I think, or on the beach. Because you're like a lot of us entrepreneurs, you didn't want to get a real job. So what was the turn? This was a turning point, I guess. And I wanted you to share a little bit about that, because you even created this alter ego. Tell us that little story.
Okay, well, I mean, basically what happened was I was acting. I had a lot of opportunities. Some I took advantage of. Some of them I just absolutely squandered because I was young. I thought I was cute as all outdoors, and I didn't care, and so I was partying, I was going out, I was drinking, I was, showing up to my job late, I was smoking weed before my auditions, and, I was just doing crazy stuff, and I wasn't a bad kid. I was just exploring and living and just doing what I thought Hollywood people do, doing what I thought actors do. And so I was being very, reckless and irresponsible with the opportunities that were given to me. Some of them I took seriously, some of them I didn't. It just depended upon where I was at, and basically what happens is it's like anything else. When you don't take things seriously, sometimes you lose them. When you don't look after things, then sometimes the homie upstairs will just snatch it away from you because you don't value it enough. And I think that's what happened with me. And so that season of my life passed, and so I ended up broke, with a girlfriend who wasn't having it anymore, and so we went separate ways, and so I really had to get a real job. And you know, Shamar, who's one of my good friends, he sat me down and he said, Marcus, I love you, but you got to get a job. And I'll always appreciate him for saying that to me, because had he not have said that to me, I probably wouldn't have did it. And this is another note, is that, you know, sometimes when you have people in your life, or you have friends and stuff, it's important for you to say how you feel, and it's important for you to speak on things that you don't feel is right, especially when it's in your spirit to do so, because we're not helping people when we're not honest with one another, you know. And
Right.
he was the only person that I think that could have said that, and he had big enough balls enough to do that, because let me tell you, nobody else could have said that to me and made me move the way he did. And he gave me the truth, and he spoke it to me in front of my house, and the next day I had a job. But here's the deal. I didn't want to let it go. I didn't want to be the guy working at this gym full time and not be pursuing my art, which was acting. I didn't feel like I was out here to be working a 9 to 5, and I didn't know why I was here. Why am I at this job? I'm not here to be just like working a 9 to 5 and getting caught up in, you know, doing all this stuff and making crumbs. I'm supposed to be acting, but there's no way I could act because I had this job. And so what I did is I came up with this alter ego, because it allowed me to still be entertaining, and I just knew I was going to be the next YouTube star. And so I came up with this alter ego about this guy who was super into fitness, but he would take it overboard. You know, he'd be sitting there talking to you, you know, but he'd be curling his phone, you know, while he's talking to you. So he's super over the top. And so I did a whole bunch of like, I did a web series. I redid songs and put my own, you know, spin to it. The character was named Six Pack. And so Six Pack was like this very outgoing fitness personality who was just way over the top. And so I did a lot of parody songs. I did a lot of web series, things like that. And to make a long story short, after about 3 years of basically taking my check at this gym and putting it towards my web series, because see, the thing is like, as you know, Tamarah, you know, in order to do a lot of what we do in terms of entrepreneurship, every dollar counts, you know. And so I had to decide whether I wanted to work at this gym and pay my rent, or take the money that I was going to use for my rent and put it towards my art, because I believed in it that much that I didn't see a way of how I was going to get to the next place. And so I took that money and I paid for, you know, for the lights. I paid for the camera guy. I paid for the sound guy. I paid for the, you know, the music that I had to go into the studio. I paid for the producer. And so I'm taking this money and I'm basically putting it toward my dream, which was, you know, coming up with this character and, you know, hopefully getting a web series greenlit, so forth and so on. And to make a long story short, what happened is after 3 years, I ran out of gas, you know, and I was sitting there and I realized that I was a lot older than I was when I first graduated from LMU, and everything happened so fast. I mean, and here I was with broke, no money, no friends, no nothing, working at this job that I hate, and coming up with this character that is going nowhere. And I'm going like, yo, where do I go? What do I do? I didn't know what was going on. And so at that moment, I was at a club, believe it or not. And the reason why I was at the club is because I had nowhere else to go. It's like when you're homeless, like in LA, what do? You know, I mean, you know, I couldn't go to my car because it was like 8 p.m. I'd be sitting there just, you know, staring at traffic all day. I mean, what am I going to do? Just sitting there, you know, twiddling my thumbs. So I'd go to some of the clubs because, you know, I knew people, and, you know, I'd get in the club and, you know, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at people and I'm like, man, these people got friends, they're having fun, and they're living a life and doing stuff. And basically I had a moment of clarity. And I walked back to my car and I'm looking at my car and I'm like, why do I have a 88, and I was thankful for the car, but I just knew I could be doing so much better. And it was raining, and I was like, that's where I got to sleep. One of the doors wouldn't even shut. I had a sunroof that wouldn't close, so rain was coming into the thing, and it was just, I sat there and I cried. I cried for hours, and I didn't sleep that night. And I basically prayed about it, and I was like, what do I do next? Why is it that I've been given so much in terms of talent? I think I'm decent looking. I think I can be articulate. I think I can be fun. I think I can be, smart. I think I can help people. Why is it that I've been given all of these things, all of these talents, all of these skills, and yet I have nothing to show for it? And I feel like my life is like taking a nosedive, And so basically, what I took from that is that I've been being too nice, with people. I think I've let people take advantage of me. I think I've let people persuade me. I think I just needed to do something different. I needed to do something different than what I've been doing before. And so from that day forward, I said, you know what? The same way that I stopped playing basketball and I started, acting is what I'm going to do right now. And I didn't know what I was going to do. And it was the most scariest thing that I've ever gone through in my life is when you don't know what you're going to do, but you just know you can't do what you've been doing. And I made a promise to myself that day that I was not going to continue to work at this gym in that way and be homeless in the way that I was. And I didn't know what I was going to do, but I said, I'm open to whatever comes, and I'm going to do whatever comes to me. I'm going to take it and run with it. And that's when a lady walked up to me, literally in like an hour after getting to my job. A lady walked up to me and said to me, she said, "Hey, I've been watching you for a really long time, and I hear that you're a really great personal trainer, and I'd like for you to work with me privately. I just got back from the doctor's office. The doctor says, I'm pre-diabetic. And I really need some help, and I won't work with anybody but you." And she wrote me a big check, and I quit my job that day, and the rest is history. And
Wow.
Yeah, the rest is history. I took the check. I never turned back. And then in 30 days I had a new car, I had a new apartment. I mean, life changed. And here's another point too, Tamarah, is I didn't realize how depressed I was. I didn't realize how unhappy I was. And I think a lot of us sometimes, life is hard as it is, but then a lot of us, walk around in relationships and in situations that don't make us happy, and sometimes because we love people so much, or we're comfortable in certain situations so much, we put up with it, and I am a walking, willing witness that it doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to continue doing things that you don't like. You don't have to continue dealing with people that you don't enjoy, because let me tell you, life is short. And I wish I could go back and have my 5 years back of doing whatever I was doing, or 10 years back of making, whatever mistakes that I was making. Because life can really change that quick if you just make different choices and different decisions.
Yeah, and I think that's good. I think that's true, and I admire you for sharing that. And I wanted you to talk about that because I wanted people to see how literally so many times that's when things change for us, is when we hit rock bottom, or we're at our darkest moments, and that's what happened for you. And so I think that's cool that you stuck with it. And what would you say you took away from all that, those hardships, that has helped you, enabled you to help others?
Well, I think the first thing that I took away from it, I say this, is that everything does happen for a reason. Everything. Even when I was at the bottom, even when I didn't have 2 pennies in my name, even when I was homeless, all those experiences are what made me who I am today. And so I couldn't be able to help people in the way that I do, and I couldn't be able to speak on things in the manner that I do had I not have gone through a lot of that. I wouldn't have had a lot of the production experience that I have had I not have been investing that money into a lot of the videos and different things that I was doing. You know, so I am a firm believer that sometimes bad things happen to you or situations happen to you to put you in a position to overcome them. You know, because here's the thing, you can't be successful without overcoming something. Right? So you know, someone who's born with the silver spoon in their mouth, or someone who's born with millions of dollars, to me, that's not success. You know, to me, success is having trials, is having challenges, you know, and to me, life is nothing but a challenge. It's nothing but a series of challenges and tests to help get you to the next place. You know, so whatever it is that you're going through, whatever challenge that you're going through, it's there to help make you better. And see, the thing is, and this is the crazy thing about it, is that they don't disappear. You know, if you're unhappy with the situation, guess what? It's going to stay right there until you figure out that Rubik's Cube. You know, and so as that relates to exercise, it's the same way. If you're unhappy with the way you look, guess what? That's your challenge. Meet it. You know, I'm all about meeting challenges. Bring it on. You know, throw me the challenge. I'm not going to run from it. I'd actually prefer to just put it on the table and be honest. And so that's another thing that I took from it, is to be honest with your situation.
Right.
Listen, I can be the biggest what do you call it? Optimist and the happiest person, but things didn't get real for me until I put the weed down. Okay, I stopped being an artist and I looked at my situation for what it was. Dude, you're 35, you're broke, and you, Marcus Smith, need to figure this. We got to figure this out, you know. And so just having an honest moment with yourself about where you're at, I think it's so empowering. And so when I did that, for me, it was the scariest moment to just look yourself in the mirror and have a heart-to-heart talk with yourself. But those are some of the things that I did to help me get to where I'm at. And that's what I took from it, is to just be honest with yourself and know that everything happens for a reason, and know that your situation can change overnight if you have the balls and you have enough strength and courage to deal with it.
Right. You're right. Decisions. You are, and you also have got a lot of compassion now that for others who are going through similar things that I think you utilize. So that's good. I wanted to quote you, Marcus, because you said in your bio, it says, a part of what I do as my life's mission in life is to be able to instill in others the idea of fearless faith. And you said, I just made that up. It's the idea that you are never out. It doesn't matter how lonely you feel, how broke you feel, or how dire your situation appears. Things can change for you in seconds, because they did for me. I'm living proof of it. And so I think that I just wanted everyone to hear about that, because things did turn around for you. And how do you keep lifting people and helping them believe in this fearless faith from, you know, in their fitness, so to speak, or in actually any area of their life? Or
I try to relate to people, you know, because, you know, for me, exercise is second nature. You know, but you know, I think all challenges, that I have my own set of challenges, and I think it's all relative. You know, for some people, making money is easy. For another person, making money is probably the hardest thing in the world. For some people, smiling is easy. For some people, smiling at strangers is like the hardest thing in the world. So I really do think that, you know, all challenges are subjective. You know, you know what I'm saying? And so as it relates to fitness, I understand the psychology, the hesitation, the nervousness, the anxiety, the frustrations, the challenges that come with, you know, taking on a fitness goal, you know. And so I just try to use my being and my experience and say, hey, listen, I'm no better than you do, you know, but if there's a way that I can say something to you, if there's a way that I can show up, and there's a way that I can call you and motivate you to get you to do something that you would normally not do on your own, you know, that's a part of, you know, kind of having that fearless faith, kind of having that I'm going to do it even when I don't want to do it, because I know it's good for me and I know that I should be doing it, you know. And so that's what I mean by having fearless faith, by not knowing how it's going to end, by not knowing how the outcome is going to work out, but still being fearless in your pursuit of the things that you want.
Right. Because I know how hard it is to get people, because I don't know, everybody wants to lose weight, most people. And I imagine that, I think it's very frustrating, because when I was doing the bodybuilding competitions, people are asking me, you know, how do you do it? What do you eat? They always ask me what I ate. And then when I tell them, they didn't want, you know, they didn't like that, and they didn't want to, they shied away and stuff. But you know what, but the thing about it is, for you, that's how you make your living. That's not what I do. I don't train people. I was just doing it for fun to get myself in shape. But how do you instill in people this idea that losing weight is not just for their physical appearance, it's also for their mental state of mind, but it gives them confidence? Because I think people just, I don't know, I could never do what you do, because I would get frustrated with, I think, people, because, you know, just, and I know they don't have to diet like a bodybuilder, but they do have to change their lifestyle a bit.
Absolutely, and that is the most challenging thing, you know, getting people to listen, getting someone to do something that they would never do on their own, or something that's not a habit, is always the challenge, you know. And so you have to figure out how you basically make a lifestyle change, you know. And so exercising is a lifestyle change, you know. And yeah, the weight is going to come off as a result of that, and I'm most passionate about that, because obviously that is the end result. But it's incorporating exercise, it's incorporating proper nutrition into the life. It's incorporating, basically changing how you look at food, changing how you look at yourself, and basically giving yourself, you know, empowering yourself. You know, working out for me is empowering. And so when I'm dealing with clients one-on-one, I'm feeding them things mentally. They feel empowered and they feel strong. So when I'm working with the client one-on-one, or if I'm working with the client remotely, I'm telling them they're awesome. I'm telling them, I'm calling them champ. I'm calling them this. I'm calling them that. We can do it. I'm using positive words, because you know, it's gonna, and sometimes we don't have that. Sometimes we tell ourselves, you know, negative. Oh, I'm just fat, or oh, I can't. So like, I don't deal with any of that. I don't deal with the I can't. I don't deal with the I'm just a fat this. I don't deal with any of that. Everything with me is always positive. It's always, you know, reaffirming. It's always like, hey, listen, let's take a snapshot at where we want to be, you know, in the next 2 weeks, in the next, you know, 3 months, and let's together figure out what we need to do in order to get there. So it's not just my plan, it's our plan. Just you know, little bitty things like that, you know, so that people have ownership. You know, hey, listen, for the next week, no sodas. I'll smallly implement little bitty changes into their lifestyle to kind of get them on the right track, you know. Right.
But because I know it is hard, and I know people want the easy way out, but I think I like the way you bring in inspiration into it as well, you know, so it's not just about fitness, because I think it does, people carry themselves better when they're in better shape, and when we're confident, it shows in other areas of our life, you know.
Absolutely.
I think,
absolutely.
Yeah. And so I know that's a challenge, but I want to ask some more fitness questions. But before I forget, because I didn't have this down before, I just wanted to know how you feel about this, how you landed this cover before we move forward, because I don't want to forget to ask you.
Yeah. So a friend of mine, Sue, I think, I don't know how I ran into Sue, but Sue had been following me on Instagram, and if you guys would have followed me on Instagram, it's Marcus Smith. No, but Sue was following me on Instagram, and she reached out to me and said, "Hey, I'd like to do, an article on you." And I'll be honest, when she first sent it to me, I was like, okay. And little did I had no idea I would be on the cover. Like, I had no idea that my story, would be in here like this, and but she was very positive, just like positive vibes and that kind of thing. And so I just went with it, and so that's kind of how that happened, completely didn't expect that at all. But she asked me a ton of questions, and I let a lot of stuff out that I'd been holding on to for a long time, and so it's in there. It's in there for people to check out.
Okay, well, it's great. It's great. I got to get me a copy too, because it's a pretty cover.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
By the way, my good friend shot that photo. His name is Steven Cooper. Thank you, Steven, for all your work. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Steven. I'll have to check. I'll have to look him up. I like to interview photographers too. So, yeah. But I think going back to the fitness, I know getting people to stay with it, like you said, is a challenge. And the biggest thing I see is people get to a goal, and then they're like the general population. They lose the weight, and then they go up and down, up and down. They gain it back. They just, how do you get people to, because it's a lifestyle change. So how do you get people to realize this and just stick with it? I mean,
I think, okay, so here's the deal. I think there's different levels to gaining weight. Okay, so like, if you're morbidly obese, we got some issues. We gotta, if your body fat is over like 40%, all right, we've got to get it all the way down. So going from 40% to 39% and then going back up is unacceptable. We gotta get that down. So your weight is gonna fluctuate. My weight fluctuates, everyone's weight fluctuates, but it's about getting it down to a manageable number, to where, if you put on 2 pounds or you drop 2 pounds, it's not the end of the world. You put on 5, you drop 5. The big thing is finding a fitness goal that you can commit to. Whether it's working out twice a day, working out twice a week, 3 times a week, whatever it is. And I think what happens is that, sometimes we get so ambitious. We start to, I'm not eating this and I'm not eating that, and you put too much onto yourself. And so what happens is after a week or 2, you die out, and you basically revert back to what you've been doing. And so the key thing is trying to find something that's manageable that you can do, for a year, 2 years, 3 years, so that it's not, you don't feel like you're like overwhelmed with stuff and your life is just, you're not, your body's in shock. You can't, it's not sustainable, so you want to find a lifestyle that is sustainable for you. If you're into Cokes and you drink Coke all the time, then I'm not gonna sit here and tell you don't have a Coke. It's just about managing how you eat, how you drink the Cokes. So it's just kind of finding that balance, because it's all about balance. I don't think exercise and eating, low carb should overwhelm, anyone's life, but you've got to figure out how you can have a balance of healthy eating and have your pizzas. I have my pizzas. I have my this, I have my that, but when it's time to get serious, it's time to get serious. And so you got to, my job is to help people figure out how to kind of have that balance, and still be able to live a life, have a vodka, have a this, have a that, without, beating yourself up and putting on excess calories.
Right, and that, you're right. I mean, it depends. I think it depends on how much they are working out. Like me, I have my red velvet cake on Friday night, and my dogs get two cupcakes. But I can do it because I do work out and I eat healthy during the week.
Right.
That's the only way. That's the only way I can do it. But I have a friend who wanted me to ask you a question. I want to ask that before I forget that too. because this is people always have a problem with that last 5 or 10 pounds. And so the question kind of was about that, but also a good example is like, but this would be really more than 10 pounds, but how does a person lose weight quickly and drastically and yet do it in a safe way? Like, say, for instance, remember when Matthew McConaughey had to lose all that weight for the Dallas Buyers Club, or Christian Bale and the Machinist? How does somebody lose weight quickly in a safe way, and even just someone who wants to lose that last 10 or 15 pounds? And that's
okay. So
that's MK Michael. I won't say his last name.
Michael, what's up, man? What's up? Thank you for asking that question. So here's the deal, Michael. It really all depends. Okay. So let me tell you why. Okay. It depends on what you're trying to lose. It depends on how much fat you have. All these things, all these variables like play such a huge role in it, because if you say you're trying to lose the last 10 pounds, okay, are you trying to lose the last 10 pounds of fat? You want this to be fat? Or like, are you trying to like really put yourself, you know, in terms of looking like a skeleton and just being like super skinny and like you're about to die, you know, or something, like you need to be like on a channel for like Feed the Hunger. Like, so it just depends on, it just depends on where you want to take it, because at the end of the day, it's always going to come down to calories in versus calories out. Period. I don't care how you slice it, how you dice it. There's 3,500 calories in 1 pound. You know, so figure out how many calories you're taking in a day, and either decrease it more, eat less, or exercise more to create a deficit. It's really that simple. I mean, you know, if you're taking in, if you're at about, you know, I don't know, let's say you're at 2,000 calories a day. Okay, then you want to decrease that, right? So if you let's say you start taking in 1,500, well that's 500 calories. Okay, that you're not taking in. Okay, so 500 times what? 5 times 6. So over a 6-day period, you taking in less calories, okay, is going to get you a pound of weight loss. Now, here's what you can do. You can either exercise more to help with that deficit and get it done quicker, or you can eat less. It's really that simple. You know what I mean? Now, when you start talking about calories and stuff, there's certain foods that you can eat that are nutrient dense. Okay, so the calories aren't really the same. For example, 200 calories in vegetables are different than 200 calories in Skittles, right? Your body is going to digest that and deal with that much differently. You know, so those are kind of the things. Eat quality foods, exercise, and that is, it's not rocket science. You know, I mean, there's certain techniques that you can do in terms of, you know, manipulating your nutrition, in terms of manipulating how you exercise. And I would always suggest to look into those types of things. For example, carb cycling, watching the amount of carbs that you're taking in, you know, with your nutrition is always a good thing. Making some food changes, you know, things that you eat for breakfast. A lot of people eat cereals and, you know, and Starbucks lattes. You really want to, you know, take a look at some of the things that you're taking in, and then also look at your output. What are you doing during the day? Are you sitting down? Are you exercising? Are you moving? If your exercise is walking, I'm sorry, but if your exercise is walking and you're trying to lose 10 to 15 pounds, yeah, and you're stuck, gotta change it. You know, gotta change it. If you're going for weight loss and you're walking, got to change it. So you want to look into incorporating, obviously, you know, weight bearing exercises, and also with some cardio, some more higher intense form of cardio as well. And then adding, you know, think about adding some high intensity interval training too as well, because that's one of the best ways for you to burn fat is through high intensity interval training. And so to answer your question, Michael, calories in, calories out. Okay. Those things, eat less.
Say that again.
Or eat
Say
more.
that again, Marcus.
Huh?
Say that again, because your sound beeped out. Say that again.
Oh, so I said at the end of the day, It's calories in versus calories out. So how much are you eating and how much are you exercising? If you eat quality foods or you eat less, that's going to help. And then exercise more, move around. There's a certain term that we've been using in fitness called movement. Just move. Move. Even if it's not exercise, move. Go hiking, walk up the stairs, go walk along the beach. Get your body moving and be active. And that should help. That should help.
And how do you feel about beer?
How do I feel about beer? I love beer. Woo! Corona, Modelo, bring it, man. Are you kidding me? Especially in the summertime. Oh my gosh, I love beer. Are you kidding me?
No, but when someone's
okay, but remember how I said about balance, right? So here we go. Balance, right? Hey, listen, I'm gonna tell you a quick story. I was out with a buddy of mine, and we were out on the beach, and it was a weekend, and it was hot. Man, we were in Manhattan Beach, Redondo, something. We're sitting on the beach, and my friend, the guy says, yeah, you guys, to hang out, have a seat. So immediately my shirt comes off. My friend takes his shirt off. And then my other friend, he's like, nah, I'm okay. I'm gonna keep my shirt on. And he's sitting there and we're like, dude, it is like 105 degrees out here. He's got this black shirt on, but he didn't want to take his shirt off. And my friend said to me, he said quietly, he said, hey man, the homie over there has to do his work during the week. And it was funny, and I laughed out loud, but I understood what he was saying. And basically, during the week is like, it's about that balance. During the week, I don't recommend drinking beers. If you're gonna drink a beer, give yourself that time, on the weekend to to enjoy your beer. Football, Sunday, lounge time, but like the whole concept of, especially when you have a weight loss goal, putting beer into your body and drinking cases of it, it just, you're shooting yourself in the foot, because here's what happens. You're putting excess calories into your body. Then your body has to now metabolize this. Not only that, but you're drinking beer. Now you're eating whatever finger foods you can get your hands on, burgers, fries, pizza, so forth and so on. Then you don't sleep as much. Your sleep is affected by alcohol. Then you wake up the next day, you're sluggish, okay, because you drank too much alcohol. How much energy you think you're going to expend when you're sluggish? You can barely pull yourself out of bed, okay? So now your output is affected by the beer. So how do I feel about beer? I love beer, but there's a place for beer, right? I can't be drinking beer and then do an interview with you, right? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I can't be drinking vodka and kill two glasses of wine. I'll have like red stuff all over my mouth and all my teeth and stuff like that, right on my tongue. So I think there's a place for everything, quite honestly. But how do I feel about beer? I love beer. I love Heineken. Oh man, I love me a Heineken. Hey, the specialty beers, I love them. And one time during the week, it's not gonna kill you. One happy hour on a Thursday or Friday, have it. But when it becomes, excessive, that's when it turns into a problem. Because here's the other thing too, alcohol makes you get depressed.
Yeah, it does.
It does, man. It does. You get high and then you got to come down and I feel sorry for myself. I'll go to McDonald's this morning.
I know. Well, tell me how you started ProBodyByMarcus, because a little bit about what it's about, so people will know.
Yeah, ProBodyByMarcus is just a name that I kind of came up with. And it's really just about, for me, my long-term goal with ProBodyByMarcus is bigger than just fitness. It's about, really taking care of your body, mentally, physically. You've only got one body. You've only got one life. Be happy, be positive, take care of yourself. Exercise is just one part of it. Drink your beer. If that makes you happy, drink it. But it has a place. You know what I mean? Take care of your skin. Sometimes we do things to ourselves that hurt our bodies. One beer is not gonna kill you. drinking excessively, that's a problem, right? So Pro Body is really just saying, hey, listen, man, let's introduce things that make us feel good and make us healthier. Getting your nails done. If you like getting your nails done, go get your nails done. You want to look good in that size too? Well, do something about it. You know, you wanna go get your hair. I'm a big proponent of spending money on yourself. You know, I don't think people do it enough. You know, we find ourselves caring for people, our kids, our significant others, friends who don't really give two craps about us, and then next thing you know, we end up empty, depressed, and alone. And so for me, Pro Body is really just about saying, hey, listen, let's do something positive for ourselves, because nobody's going to love you as much as you should love you. You know, so Pro Body is about loving yourself, taking care of your body, and just living life to the fullest. That's what ProBodyByMarcus is about.
Great. Well, good. Well, what advice do you give people? Because I know you work with some celebrities, and then not just celebrities have unusual schedules, but there's certain people who are very have careers that they have very unusual schedules. So what advice do you give to people who have a busy schedule with odd hours, just like actors? Sometimes they're working. I've worked on movies for hair and makeup. I know that sometimes you're working all night long, and I followed Dwayne Rock Johnson, and he gets up at 3 in the morning to work out, you know. But how do you give people, what advice do you give these people that have unusual careers or they travel a lot and it's demanding? How do they eat healthy and then find time to exercise when when healthy food isn't always readily available, I guess?
Well, I think that's a challenge for everybody, right? You know, I mean, I think that is a challenge for everybody. I think the first thing we need to do is come up with a goal beforehand. You know, regardless of your work and everything, it's like, let's come up with the game plan first. Let's come up with something that we can stick to. You know, so for example, right? My goal for next week is to work out 3 times. Now I'm gonna come up with a schedule. Things are gonna change, things are gonna move, but also I want to make sure that I can do everything in my power to not let anything hinge on the goals that I set for myself. Life happens, things are gonna come up, but now at least I know, okay, I gotta find a way to make up this time. You know, and I think the problem is that we'll set goals and we'll set times, but we really don't mean it. Like, they're not really a priority, you know. And so the first thing is like, let's have a plan. Right? My schedule is crazy. I mean, people think that just because I'm a trainer, like, getting to the gym is easy for me because I'm all like, no, I don't want to be there either. Sometimes, you know, there are times where I don't want to work out at all. I don't want to see a gym. I don't want to look at a gym. I don't want to see a dumbbell. I don't want to do any of that. You know, but then, no, I'm serious, you know, but you got to have a plan first and say, hey, I'm committed, come hell or high water. I'm working out 3 times. I'm working out 3 times a week. And when it means that because of this, I'm working out 3 times a week because of this. So this is your why. This is your reason why you're doing it. You know, and then once you do that and you have that determination about you, like, I come hell or high water, I'm going to get this, I'm going to get X, Y, and Z in, then nothing will let you down. You know, I mean, there are times where when I'm so focused and my plate gets too high, I'll wake my butt up at 5 in the morning, 4:30 a.m. in the morning, and get it done, knock it out. Even if it's just for a quick hike, a quick jog in the park, 15 minutes. And here's the other thing. It doesn't always have to be all out. You know, it doesn't always got to be, you know, an hour of just sweating and you know, perspiring all over the place, you know, to be able to get something done. You know, if you can only do 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, that's better than no minutes. You know, so do that. If you're on a plane and you're busy and you don't have that kind of time, hey, man, make whatever time you can and do, because something is always better than nothing. You know, and so that's my philosophy. You know, I mean, man, if I could be ripped, you know, 365 days out of the year, I would, you know, but sometimes I don't have time either, you know, so I'm going to do 20 minutes, 30 minutes or something, because at least that's better than nothing, you know. So that would be my advice. And then as it relates to food, first of all, let's figure out how we should be eating in the first place. I love when people say, I'm traveling and I can't find any healthy food. Get out of here. You can any hotel was gonna tell you, I'm serious. And you know what you should be eating. I mean, you know what healthy looks like, but you gotta and again, it doesn't have to be every meal, but how about try making one meal or two meals out of your little bit healthier? You know what I mean? Grab some peanuts, grab some healthy snacks that you can eat for that snack, you know, and you just it's gotta be a priority to you. You know, first thing I do when I land, I'm looking for a gym. First thing as a matter of fact, before you can book the flight, make sure that they got a gym in the building. And pack your shoes. So,
Right.
you know, plan ahead. Oh man, I don't have a workout shoes. Well, you probably weren't thinking about that, you know, so you gotta make it a priority.
Yeah. Well, you do. You're right. You do. I always take my workout clothes whenever I travel on a trip or seminar or whatever. But you have to be committed to do that. And are you still? I know you're good friends with Shamar, and he has to stay in shape for the type of roles he plays too. Do you still train him at all?
No. I mean, we have trained together several times, but he has his own trainer. He has a guy that he sees. He's been seeing him for years. You know, but man, I mean, he's an inspiration. You know, he's a guy at, you know, I don't know how old he is now, 45 or something like that, who is pushing himself to grow both, you know, personally and professionally, and that sort of thing. But no, he's busy, you know, trying to, you know, putting out squat and doing his thing, and so we're all gonna root him on and cheer him on and that, and yeah, so I mean, anytime I can get a chance to sweat with him and pick his brain on things, I'm surely gonna do that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, let's see what else there was. Oh, what do you find is the biggest challenge? Because I always think this is interesting for people, some of your clients. Because when I was doing, I still do the workouts, and I eat most of the time healthy, but not strict like when I was competing. And I always funny that most people complained about the diet. I like the diet, but do people find the diet harder or the workout to be there, or is it just a?
I would say, I mean, both. I mean, I would say, it's every person is different. Every client is different. You know, some people getting them to the gym is just like pulling teeth. You know, it really is. You know, and then there are others that just, you know, because it's about breaking old habits. And, you know, breaking old habits are hard to do. Some people just, the idea, I have a client of mine that I train that is a you know, a producer, and he just hates it. He hates the idea of being in a gym. He hates the idea of being around other people. He hates the idea of being sore and just how it makes his body feel when he's doing it. He can't stand it, you know, but you know, and then you have people who, you know, where food is like their comfort. You know, they're used to eating certain things at a certain time, and so breaking those habits or changing them can be a little bit challenging. So to answer your question, it just depends on the person, you know.
Right.
Every person has their own set of challenges.
Right. Yeah. I agree, and I'm a big advocate of weightlifting, and because I know I've always felt like weightlifting is the fountain of youth, just because the more toned we are, you look younger, but you also you feel younger, but for some reason women, no matter how much I have told them when I was doing the competitions, and I imagine women think they're going to bulk up when they pick up a weight. Right. How do you get them to understand that they will not bulk up?
Well, I mean, I tell them, and then I don't talk about it anymore, because I mean, because that's why you're hiring me. You know, you're hiring me to basically tell you what to do and guide you through the process. And so, you know, I can spend all day grading and debating and going back and forth, and we're just wasting time. You know what I mean? Because what people don't understand is that especially what people don't understand is that metabolism plays such a huge role in fat burn. Okay, and so in order to speed that metabolism up, stronger. Well, guess what? There's only so many air squats you can do with no weight. Used to it. So what do we need to do? What do you think we need to do instead of doing the air squats? Let's add some more weight. And so weight is subjective. For example, I'm probably the strongest person in my gym, but I don't lift as heavy, okay, as some of the bigger guys, right? Oh, excuse me, I lift heavier than some of the bigger guys because that's what I need to kind of get my body to, you know, to sweat and so forth and so on, you know. So like weight is relative. If there's a guy who weighs 300, you know, 295, 260, well, that's all the weight he needs. You know, so with that, there's certain compound movements that I can do with someone who's already carrying that sort of weight, so that they don't have to put more weight on themselves. So again, every person is different, every body type is different, but specifically for women, listen, when you look at the skeletal frame, right? It's like looking at architecture or a building. Everything's gonna look much more symmetrical, right? When your arms have a little bit of, you know, curves, and your hips have a little bit of curves, and everything is looking more in place and tighter. Well, the only way that's gonna happen is not just through losing weight, but also through building up the muscle tissue, strengthening up your back, making your back stronger so that you sit upright and your lats sit where they're supposed to sit, so forth and so on. So, you know, I mean, strength, and not only that, osteoporosis. You know, as women, you know, you can be very frail and you do a couple squats, and stuff, and all of a sudden your walk changes. And that's and it's just I can't explain it. I don't know why that happens. But, you know, you take someone who hasn't done lunges or squats in a long time, you go in there, you do a couple squats and some lunges, and all of a sudden, you know, you got pep in your step, you know. And so that's kind of how it happens, you know.
Yeah, well, you're right. You're right. Well, I just have a couple more questions, Marcus, and then we'll be wrapping up. I got to know what your guilty pleasure is. What's your biggest cheat food? Your weakness, maybe?
Oh, pizza.
Pizza. Okay.
I love it all, though, man. I love pizza, nachos, hamburgers with bacon and barbecue sauce, French fries. I mean, those are my favorites. I'm very American, you know, food when it comes to that. I don't eat as much pasta as I used to, but I love bread. You know, bread. You know, pizza, hamburgers, French fries, In-N-Out. I love me some In-N-Out. I love it.
What about sweets? Do you ever eat sweets?
I love candy, Fruity Mambas, Star. What do you call those things? Starburst, Doritos. Oh, yeah. I love those small little candies that they have. They're like what do you call those things? Apple heads or lemon heads. I love those things.
I know. So you like it all. I know. There's so much good stuff out there. But how does someone get started with you that might be watching? Because I know I read that you work with people all over the world. How did they do that if they're not in your area? Or
well, I mean, basically what I do is, you know, I started doing this thing called like online training or virtual training, and it happened because I had a client out here in LA, and she couldn't work with me anymore because of her schedule and, you know, my schedule. And she was just like, you know, could you just like write me out a routine? And I was like, sure, you know. And she was like, I'll pay you for it. And I was like, really? She's like, yeah, you know. And I was like, okay. So like, I think she paid me like $60 or something like that. And I took out my pen and I just wrote her down, you know, some exercises that she could do. And so, you know how to do this, you know how to do this, and then after I spent all that time explaining to her how to do it, I said, man, what if I just shot a video of me doing the exercises and put it into a document and sent it to her? And then so that's what I did. And then slowly but surely I said, wait a minute. I started refining how the document looked. I started refining how I wanted to shoot the videos. And so I ended up doing it for other people. And so I came up with the process of basically figuring out what people's goals were and shooting these step-by-step videos that will show people how to do, you know, the exercises that I wanted them to do. And so that's how I came up with the whole concept of like training people remotely. And then I had a client who was traveling to Dubai, and they wanted to train with me still, and they're like, I have my gym, just kind of, you know, because a lot of it is accountability too, and they, you know, accountability and having me there to kind of check out their form. And so I have several people that I work with via Skype or via FaceTime or, you know, Messenger, and I'll sit the phone up and we'll, you know, be in their house gym or, you know, wherever they're at, and I'll train them. I'll train them via Skype, and I'll you know, work with them that way. So there's a couple ways to do it. One is just I send someone a program that they can follow, and I'll touch base with them and walk them through it, and I can tweak based upon how the program is going. And then the other one is just working with them remotely via Skype. Both of them I've gotten really good results with. So it just depends on, you know, how they want to do it. And you can go to my website at ProBodyByMarcus.com, and then, you know, all of that information is there.
That's great. That's great. Well, I know that Skype is used by a lot of people now to do stuff, so that's really, really great. So, do they send you pictures? Well, I guess you'll see them on Skype, but you can see their body type.
Oh, no. They send me all of that. I need pictures. I need numbers. I need befores. I need afters. I need what they're eating. So like I'll send over. Yeah, I do all of that. I do a full-on assessment. You know, so before we get started, we're gonna figure out what your goals are. We're gonna figure out where you're at. We're gonna figure out what your target areas are. We're gonna figure out how you want to do this. What do you have in your house that do you want to train in your house? Do you want to train in the gym? Do you want to train face to face? And then so based off of that information, I'll go ahead and either customize a program for you that you can do on your own, or we'll put together a plan that we can do face to face. And then with both of those programs, I offer, I have nutrition guides and things that I use that work really well for people. And then a cheat sheets and so forth and so on. And so I have a whole, you know, routine about how I do that, because again, I love seeing people's body change. So like for me, the progress photos are very important, you know.
Yeah, right. Okay, before we wrap it up, what's your most proud moment?
Oh man, what is my most proud moment? Oh, that is a great question. That's one of them.
The magazine.
But you know, and this is gonna sound real cheesy. You know, working with Tyler was great. Doing that was great. Graduating college and getting a scholarship was great. But to be honest with you, my biggest accomplishment is just being here right now in this moment, having a clear head, having direction, and having confidence in knowing that I still have a shot at my dream. That to me is my biggest accomplishment as I sit here talking to you, because, you know, the mind is so fragile. You know, and you got to stay focused, and that's the only thing that's going to get anyone where they're going to go, is by here, you know. And so that's my biggest accomplishment, is being sane in a world that is insane, you know. And so there's a lot of different things that pull us in a lot of different directions, and, you know, with hurt and guilt and all of these different things, you know, going on politically, going on in our country, going on in everything else, I'm most thankful that I got a sane mind and I got belief in myself, and I'm in the right place at the right time. That's what I'm happy about. Hello. Hello.
That's a good answer, though. That is a good answer, because, you know, just being here today and staying focused is that's what keeps us alive, because there is a lot going on. But
there's a lot going on.
I know. I want to thank you so much for being here today, Marcus. Is there anything else that you wanted to add or mention that we didn't mention, or?
No, I think that's it. You know, thank you so much for having me, and you know.
Yeah, it's been fun. I've got some of your videos saved. I'm gonna do some of your workouts. I like that little chair, the one that I posted. That.
Oh yeah, the Abdur.
Yeah, the ab doer. That was
Oh
interesting.
yeah.
That was really cool, that video. I like that. So, but don't hang up. I'm going to say goodbye to the viewers. I want to thank the viewers for being here, and make sure you share this interview, the replay, so that I can continue to celebrate Marcus and help promote him. And his website is ProBodyByMarcus.com. He's on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You're on Facebook a couple of different ways.
Yeah, I just changed it back. Yeah, I have a Facebook, Marcus Smith III, and a Facebook page. Same thing, Marcus Smith III.
Okay, cool. And then and you can find the replay on my Tamarah's Closet on YouTube, which is where this video is right here. And then also it'll eventually be in, I'm rebuilding my site, tamarahscloset.com. So stay tuned to Tamarah's Closet on Facebook and Tamarah Ellen on Facebook, so you can keep up with my upcoming guests. I'll have more in November. And so thanks again for your support. Help me continue to promote Marcus, and we'll see you in November. So take care.